Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the G.I. Joe Retaliation Storm Shadow. So let's continue our look at a few of the figures from the first wave of G.I. Joe Retaliation. And why not go ahead and take a look at the famous ninjas, starting with Storm Shadow. Now, Storm Shadow comes on that brand new G.I. Joe Retaliation card back packaging, which I am not a fan of. I know that's pretty much the general consensus, so I am not alone. But the packaging does feature images of The Rock as Roadblock and Snake Eyes up at the top, with kind of an orange and yellow burst scene in the background, and then the figure packaged within. Now, the back of that package gives us a bit of a bio for Storm Shadow, shows off several of the different accessories that come with the figure, as well as other figures available in the first wave of Retaliation figures. Now, one thing that's been pretty clear about this first wave of figures is that they don't necessarily seem to be movie accurate. Now, I know the movie hasn't actually come out yet, so it's still to be seen exactly how these characters are going to be portrayed in various scenes in the movies, but all the figures so far that I've looked at don't necessarily match up with what we're seeing from previews and photos and such from the movie. And I think Storm Shadow here might be another one of those figures. The cool thing about this figure is that his design is actually very reminiscent of other Storm Shadows we've seen in the past. Not really very movie-like. I actually really like the design and the sculpt of the figure. The white outfit is broken up by some gray details, and he's got the Cobra logo on the breast. I kind of like the way that the pants are a little parachuted out. They're a little poofy, if you will, on the thigh area, but the rest of the outfit does seem to be pretty form-fitting, and he does have the nice tight mask around his face, and he's got a nice open collar on his neck. So the design and the sculpt is actually really cool on this guy. Now, even better is that the figure has a really good amount of articulation. So far, a lot of the figures from the G.I. Joe Retaliation line have really suffered from a lack of articulation, whereas Storm Shadow here seems to actually include a lot of the same articulation we see on most modern G.I. Joe figures. So the head is able to move both left and right and slightly up and down. We have ball hinge joints at the shoulders, allowing for full rotation. Swivels right above the elbows and the regular elbow joint. You have swivels at the wrist, plus the wrist can also twist a little bit. They move up and down, so there's extra articulation there, which is really nice. You've got a twist at the torso area there, allowing to rock a little bit and move side to side. There's ball pin joints in the legs, full forward and backward movement. You have double jointed knees, which is fantastic. You've also got a joint in the ankle and the ankle rockers. So you can actually get some really great ninja poses out of Storm Shadow. Now, as far as accessories go, Storm Shadow does come with a few. First up, he does include a pair of swords. There is a cool little sheath piece that just plugs right into his back there, and it's just a small little area that holds onto both swords. And he includes two different ones. He's got a long sword and then a shorter sword. So pairing those up, you can get some cool different ninja poses out of them. And the swords are nice because they do actually have multiple colors on there. So the handles are black, the blades are a nice silver, and they look really nice. And the figure can hold on to both swords very nicely in either hand. Now, for his extra accessory, he comes with one of those big, giant, goofy weapons that we've been seeing in this first wave of Retaliation figures. It's a movie year, so we're going to get all kinds of gimmicky, goofy-looking weapons, and this is no exception. Storm Shadow comes with this huge jetpack or backpack thing that's got a launching missile on it that actually includes a zip line. It's kind of a neat accessory, actually. First of all, the pack does launch off the missile piece on there. There's a small button, and when you press it, it does shoot off. It's not a very powerful launch, but it does shoot. Now, the thing that's neat about it is it actually comes with 5 feet of string with little hooks at each end of it. So, if you want to, you can actually do a cool little zipline effect. The pack can either attach to Storm Shadow's back, or he can hold onto the handles. And then there's two different ways you can actually position this to make it work. First of all, you can run the string through just one of the loops on the back, and then you can have him just zip line down it just by going down using gravity, or you can filter the string through both of the little holes on the pack there and use it like a pulley system, where when you pull the two ends of the string out from underneath, he actually looks like he's climbing up the zip line. So it's kind of a fun feature, definitely really cool for little kids. The piece is huge. It looks really funny when it's stuck on his back, and it just doesn't really balance him very well, especially since the figure doesn't come with a figure stand. But it's neat for what it is, and it's just an additional accessory on top of the swords, so can't really complain too much. Alright guys, it's comparison time! Here's Storm Shadow standing alongside the G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra version. You can see there's a definite difference between these two movie versions of Storm Shadow. And just for fun, here he is alongside a selection of various other Storm Shadow figures that I own. All in all, I must say that I'm very happy with the Storm Shadow figure. I think the design of it is really nice, even if it may not entirely be movie accurate. It's a cool sculpt, it's got a really nice paint job to it, even though it's a little basic. I love the articulation, and the accessories are cool, even that big goofy zipline thing. The G.I. Joe Retaliation figures are already starting to leak into stores, so if you haven't found them yet, get out there and start hunting. And if you want to make it easier for yourself, why not head over to www.pastgenerationtoys.com to check out their selection of G.I. Joe Retaliation figures and many, many more cool action figures. Until next time.